Hey everybody, this is Rustin with Metalholic and the Examiner. With us today, we got Freddy Kilo, vocalist and guitarist for Phoenix-based rockers Defy Tolerance. How you doing, brother?
Hey, what's up, man? How's it going?
It is going awesome. Nice weekend. Got Veterans Day on Monday. You doing anything exciting to support our troops?
You know what? I've been playing Battlefield 4 for the past week and a half or so, I feel like I'm doing some support there, I guess.
There you go. By osmosis, right?
Yeah.
Well, you guys, like I said, are based out of Phoenix, the Arizona area. So let's introduce the rest of the world to Defy Tolerance. Tell us a little bit about the backstory on the band and how it came together.
Well, got together, me and Donnie, we got together around, I think it was the summer of 2011, I think. Somewhere around there. Or maybe it was 2010. And then we started looking for drummers on Craigslist. We probably went through about a dozen drummers until we found Garen. And he was a perfect fit for us. So plus we liked his attitude. He's pretty high strung, so that added something interesting to the mix. And then we were a three-piece band. We started playing shows February. Man, I can't even remember what year it was. I think it was February 2012 of last year. Yeah, and we were a three-piece, and we wanted to look for another guitarist because we wanted to fill some secondary guitar parts that we recorded into the studio. We wanted to get some out with a live show, so we started looking for a guitarist, and just so happened that Brian worked with Garen, and he played guitar, so he tried out for the band, and we liked him, so we kept him, and we've been a four-piece since August of 2012. And we have a full-length album that was released this past January.
Stop the Bleeding.
Stop the Bleeding.
We're going to talk about that in a little bit. And, of course, Donnie is Donnie Roscoe, the bass player, obviously, right?
Right, yep.
Perfect. So, and you guys have a lot of 90s vibe, I guess you would say, to your sound. Did you guys have a specific sound that you were looking for going in, or did it just sort of develop when you started playing?
Not really. When I first started writing music, before the band even existed, I was writing guitar riffs and vocals, and I was recording it on my computer, and I was putting electronic drum beats to it or whatever. So I wasn't trying to really sound like anything. I kind of have maybe like a Godsmack-ish style of guitar playing, and I just wanted to, write some words to it because I never really sang before, and I don't know. I wanted to give it a shot, add some lyrics, and I recorded 3 songs in the studio before I met Donnie, so we kind of had an idea of how we wanted the band to sound, just straight up rock band. Then we started writing music together as a band, and like I said, we're not, we don't really try to sound like anything. It just, if something comes out that sounds cool, we'll work with it and write it, song, and hopefully it sounds cool to other people, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely have definitely a great sound, very accessible to a lot of people. And there's a lot of influences people will readily hear, like the Seven Dust, Godsmack, some Tool in there, stuff like that. So I have to ask, because you're a newer band that most people haven't heard of yet, is there a story behind the band name?
Yeah, I mean, there actually is. I'm trying to make a long story short. I was originally going to call it Tolerance because I work in a machine shop, and we deal with tight tolerances all day long when we make our parts. I thought Tolerance sounded cool, but I think there was like 5 or 6 other bands in Phoenix that were already called Tolerance. So I'm like, really? Okay, I changed it. So like the first word that popped in my head was Defy, or like Defy Tolerance. But later on, it came to with a deeper meaning. Later on, after I started writing some more of the songs about my life, like Defy Tolerance kind of says, you don't have to put up with all the crap that gets thrown at you in your life. You don't have to tolerate any of that stuff. If you defy your tolerance, you actually probably make a change in your life and make it better, that type of thing. So, and a lot of our songs, I think that I write the lyrics, it kind of reflects on the band name and what it means.
Well, that great segue. Thank you very much for that. Because you as you alluded, you're the primary songwriter in the band. How does your songwriting process work? Do you begin formulating the ideas in your head, or does it start with a guitar in hand? Or
Yeah, I think most of our songs start out with guitar riffs. Like if me or Donnie or Brian comes up with a cool riff, we'll work with that, and we'll get the rhythm section down on it. And then since I know how to play guitar, I'll take that home with me and kind of work with it and get a melody and some lyrics. So usually it starts with the music, because it's all easy for us to just get together, come up with a riff, have Garen, our drummer, put a beat to it, and just jam to it, see how it feels, see how it sounds. Like the hard part is coming up with lyrics. Like sometimes I'll come quick. Like we just wrote a song just recently where I was like, oh my God, I want to do something really awesome with this song, and I was kind of afraid that it may not have went anywhere with lyric wise, but like it took me maybe less than 2 days to finish the whole song, to put lyrics to it, and other songs I'll get maybe the first verse and maybe a chorus written for it, and it'll take me months to finally figure out how I want the bridge or the second verse to go. So it really depends, how I'm feeling at the time, how strongly I feel about something that I want to write about. If I feel really strong about it, it'll come out pretty quick, and I'll have different options that I can use, but different lines or whatever I can plug in.
Right. Do you carry around like a notebook to jot down like song title ideas or little bits of lyrics that pop into your head?
Not really. I mean, if we're working on a song, I'll pop out my phone and I'll record some. I got a voice recorder on my phone, so I'll just record some stuff. Like if I think about it at the time, it usually works pretty good. Like I don't really write poetry, quote unquote, to use that. It's just kind of
right.
At the moment what I feel. If I think of something, I'll just say it to my phone and record it.
Well, now most vocalists and lyricists are usually the social conscience of the band. Do you write from that perspective, or do you see yourself as more of a storyteller?
I mean, I write about my life. Obviously, pretty sure that's what most songwriters write about, their life. I wouldn't say I'm much of a storyteller. I mean, maybe I'll try that now that you mentioned that. I guess that's kind of something different that I can do. I don't know. I just write about things I feel strongly about, which I don't really feel there isn't really a whole lot that I do feel strongly about. So something has to happen to me in my life that kind of gets my attention.
Gotcha.
That'll draw an emotion out of me to where I can write about. So
not so much about global or societal issues, but stuff that directly affects you in the here and now.
Well, you know what? Society does affect me, so I like to write about that. I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's just whatever comes out, I guess.
Well, let's talk about the album, Stop the Bleeding. First off, I have to ask, of course, again, because everybody always asks, is there something behind the album name?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of goes with the band name. Before I had a band, I'm married and I have kids, so
right.
When I first had kids, life was hard. I mean, I'm sure anybody with kids can agree with me that having kids is it's a challenge.
Yeah, to say the least.
I remember my father-in-law once told me that just give it time, stick it out, be patient. The bleeding will soon stop. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. That makes me feel better. And I'm like, Stop the Bleeding. That'd be a cool band name or song name or something. So I kind of hung on to that and figured I'd use it as the title of the album. Because if you defy tolerance, stop putting up with all the things that are dragging you down in life. Eventually, the bleeding's going to stop. So it kind of goes together, I guess.
It's a theme. It ties in together. And you worked with Ken Mary, who, God, I remember from his years with Alice Cooper, House of Lords, and a band most people probably don't even remember, Fifth Angel. How did you connect with him?
The company that I worked for, I've been there like 12 years now, and the CEO, I guess I'm pretty good friends with him. He played in a band with Ken Mary back in the 90s or 80s or one of those decades. So he knew him personally, and I went over to Lee. Lee is the CEO of the company I work for. So I went over to Lee's house one day because I wanted him to record some stuff that I was, some songs I was writing. And he plays guitar as well. And he was kind of impressed with the songs I was writing, so, he offered to hook me up with Ken, because Ken has a recording studio out here in Phoenix. And, I accepted, and that's when we recorded the first 3 songs. But Ken, he's awesome to work for. He's a funny guy. He's very professional, knows what he's doing. Just got lucky, I guess.
Sweet. Well, there's a lot of continuity to the album. It really flows well. I wanted to know, every song obviously has special meaning to you. You're writing about your life and everything, but there's usually 1 or 2 songs on an album that stand out for the writer, or there's an unusual story behind them. Are there 1 or 2 from this album that sort of stand out for you or have an unusual story behind them?
Yeah, I think the song that probably means the most to me is Live For Today. That was, I wrote that one year when my wife and kids went out of town for a few weeks, and I had a lot of time to kind of, reflect on things that have happened to me in the past few years, and, like where I kind of want my life to go and how I see it happening. And so, that song, it means a lot to me. I think probably the most on the album. And then I really like Until I'm Done. That was a snowboarding trip that me and one of my buddies went on, and I wrote that song while we were on the trip. It was like a 3-day trip in Telluride, and we stayed in this huge log cabin. It was a good time. And, every time I hear that song, I'm like, yeah, I'm so glad I went on that trip because I love the song.
Sweet. So now you guys, obviously being from Phoenix, you play a lot of shows in the regional area there, but have you guys really had a chance to branch out and get outside of your region much yet?
Yeah, we're really want to start to focus on that. We played Vegas this past June, and then we played other cities here in Arizona, like Kingman, Prescott, and Payson. But we're really working hard on like a West Coast little gig, like a 2-week tour. We're ready because we got a vehicle, we got a trailer, we got our equipment. So we're working with a booking agent right now to get us a little 2-week tour, up and down California,
right,
Nevada, and then back home.
Circle it around, go through Boise and down through Denver and Salt Lake, and
there you go, dude. You can do our bookings.
So, and now I lived in Phoenix for a number of years, and it was sort of weird. Of all the places I've lived, I noticed that it sort of affected my state of mind when I lived there. So I always sort of think about that in terms of geographics. Do you think living there, I don't know if you spent your whole life there or not, but do you think living there impacts your writing and musical style at all?
Yeah, it definitely inspired me to write at least 2 songs that we have, because it's, Until I'm Done, it talks a lot about, well, it doesn't talk a lot about, but it has, mentions, the desert and the summer heat.
Mm-hmm.
And then, there's a new song that we just wrote about living in the city in the summer, or whatever. I don't even know what we're going to call it yet, but that's definitely, living here in the hot desert, that has definitely inspired me to write music. I'm originally from Illinois, and it was, I can just remember it being always gloomy back there, and snowy in the winter. I'm definitely happier out here, but it's kind of funny because I know that most of our songs are darker and maybe sound like I'm a depressed individual. I know I read one review on some website that the guy was like, I didn't know whether to be depressed or this guy, he's only around, he couldn't be any more than 25 years old. I couldn't see how he could go into all this misery. But really, I'm generally a happy person. So I don't know. I guess it's sort of an outlet, my style of writing. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, music's usually an emotive context for songwriters and whatnot. That's usually where you bleed out some of the toxins and talk about those things. A lot of music really isn't that happy-go-lucky, upbeat stuff, So I just always thought that was sort of interesting. I used to always joke with people. I said, Phoenix only has 2 seasons, summer and hell, and summer begins in December. So,
right now it's been pretty nice this past October, and And right now, we're getting highs in the mid 80s. So
yeah, so
I'm loving it.
you're in that beautiful zone that we would get every year for like a month or so. But all right, so our last question before we get out of here, just for fun. Each year, Alice Cooper, of course, does his Christmas pudding show there in Phoenix, and he jams a lot of talent together on that stage. So if you could play at this year's event, who would you like to get up and perform with?
Oh, dude. You know what? I really like Dave Grohl. I think he's very energetic when I've seen him play live. Seems like he's got a really cool personality. I mean, I think it'd be fun to jam with him. I know that Foo Fighters, I don't even know if they're still together or not, but I know they play some pretty huge shows. I mean, that'd probably be fun.
Nice. So Dave Grohl. Perfect. Freddie, thanks so much for taking the time.
Awesome, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Take care, brother.